Hi, welcome to Sound Education 101, where music makes learning come alive. I'm Paul. I'd like to run through the various music genres available within the guided creative writing tool, and I would also like to just talk to you about theoretical foundation and also what happened when I implemented this program in a grade 5-6 setting. Now, the guided creative writing tool will work beautifully alongside whatever literacy approach you're already using, and it gives students a foundation to work from while also boosting their confidence and their own expectations of themselves when it comes to literacy. So my understanding of teaching and learning extends beyond my formal training. I'm a second generation teacher. Both my parents were teachers. My father was the second longest serving principal at the school that I went to as a child, and my mother taught at another school. She was at one point the longest serving teacher there. And so I was immersed in conversation about the realities of teaching long before I ever set foot in my own classroom. So whatever your views of alternative education models like Montessori and Steiner are concerned, and there are valid perspectives on both sides of that debate, most educators would agree on one fundamental point. Immersive, emotionally connected learning environments produce deeper engagement than direct instruction alone. That single insight, stripped of everything else, is what I wanted to bring to a mainstream classroom. The challenge, as most of us know, is the level of freedom those models require simply cannot be scaled to a conventional classroom without losing the structure our students need. So I went looking for a way to create that same immersive state without the chaos. The Montessori and Steiner schools require a level of individual freedom and student agency within a teacher-guided structure that works beautifully in the right environment but simply cannot be scaled to a conventional mainstream classroom. Too much freedom without the right structure leads to chaos, so most teachers don't have that luxury. But for years I kept asking myself the same question: is there a way to bring that immersive, discovery-based power of these approaches into a mainstream classroom without losing structure and order that whole class teaching requires? And the answer turned out to be music. I come from a musical family, and I found that students were always engaged whenever the guitar came out, so I incorporated that into my literacy program, and the results were amazing because music creates an immersive emotional state naturally and immediately. It engages students at a level that worksheets and direct instruction simply can't reach. And critically, it does this within a structured, teacher-guided framework. The teacher stays in control of the learning direction while students experience the kind of organic, discovery-based engagement that Montessori and Steiner built their entire philosophies around. I developed this guided writing tool using different music genres to create that immersive state and then channel it directly into narrative writing and literacy skill development. Students don't just learn parts of speech and narrative structure, they discover them naturally through repeated, enjoyable, creative experience. And what happened in that classroom was amazing. I tested the approach in the grade 5-6 class where many students were well behind. I had taken over that class from a teacher who had taken leave for medical reasons, and they were low in literacy, not completely across the board, but the majority of them you would consider a bit behind. And I had 6 months to sort of turn it around. But the transition was beyond anything I had expected or could have expected. Their confidence soared, and their writing that had been near impossible to read became expressive and organised and genuinely impressive. And for years after, parents and former students would tell me that how much those 6 months had changed their relationship with writing, and that was the greatest honour, the greatest reward was hearing that back from parents even years later, and students talking to me about how they were so surprised with the level of work that their friends were coming up with, that they had gone right through primary school with. Yeah, just incredible. And there's one more benefit that I hadn't anticipated, and that is the time that it took to mark and correct the students' work was cut in half, because when they produce the better quality work, the feedback becomes faster and more positive for time-poor teachers. That is not a small thing. So, look, everything on this channel is built on that same foundation, proven educational philosophy made practical for mainstream classroom. If Montessori and Steiner had a tool designed specifically for conventional schools, I'd like to think it would look something like this, and I'm confident that it will make a huge difference to your classroom in the way that it has for mine. And I would just like to wish you all the best for your future teaching endeavours, and thanks for being here and thanks for listening.